Have you ever heard of a Bitcoin? It's the first decentralized electronic currency not controlled by a single organization or government. Check this out.
What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the first decentralized digital currency. Bitcoins are digital coins you can send through the internet. Compared to other alternatives, Bitcoins have a number of advantages. Bitcoins are transferred directly from person to person via the net, without going through a bank or clearinghouse. This means that the fees are much lower, you can use them in every country, your account cannot be frozen, and there are no prerequisites or arbitrary limits.
Believe it or not, this is a currency now being used by more than 100,000 people all over the world who are trading thousands of dollars worth of Bitcoin every day. And just imagine a currency with no middleman, no bank, and no credit card companies. So to talk about this alternative currency and what other economic policy changes could avert the full financial collapse, which my next guest says could happen as early as next month. Right now I'm joined by Max Keiser, host of the Keiser Report from our New York studio. Thank you so much for joining me, Max.
Hi, Abby. It's great to be with you.
Awesome. So let's talk about Bitcoin. I see that you've been talking about it quite a bit lately. I find it really fascinating, Max. Give us a sense, I mean, how efficient is this really? Is it really able to fix the economic problems we face?
Well, efficient is a good word. First of all, it's up 200% this year. So the Dow Jones is hitting an all-time new low against Bitcoin. This is a currency that people are starting to gravitate to as a store of value, realizing that the other currencies out there, like the dollar, the yen, and the euro, are just fiat currencies run by central banks who have the ability to print trillions and trillions in an attempt to debase their currency in what's called the currency war. Whereas with Bitcoin, there is a limited supply. It is a storehouse of value. It is cryptologically protected, so it gives users the benefit of making anonymous transactions. And yes, it is very efficient. You can send money anywhere in the world for a fraction of 1%, which is a lot cheaper than anyone else offers. So it's going to challenge the business models of the big banks, the so-called too big to fail banks. And let me add something else, Abby, is that this rise in Bitcoin shows you the real effects of the money printing that's going on at the Federal Reserve Bank. You know, Ben Bernanke, in his testimony before Congress, will say, well, we don't see any inflation, even though his CPI number that they use to gauge inflation is not really representative of a true basket of goods that the average American might experience. The average American is experiencing 8 to 10% inflation, and they're wondering, why would the Federal Reserve lie like that? So there's a lot of problems with what the Federal Reserve is saying, and this is drawing attention to Bitcoin, which is now a $400 million market, and it has room to become 1, 2, 5, 10% of the global Forex market. So that Bitcoin price, which last year was at $4, which is currently trading almost at $50, if it captures 10% of the global market, you could see Bitcoins trading for $100,000 a Bitcoin, $1 million a Bitcoin. That's the potential.
Let me ask you this. I mean, is there any, and I love the anonymity part of the Bitcoin. I think it really can get a lot of widespread appeal. But I mean, as it gains more traction, what kind of efforts could we see, or should we expect to see, rather, from banking industry and from, you know, these bank lobbying efforts to really block this? I mean, is it possible for them to really stifle the growth of this?
I don't think it is possible to stifle the growth, aside from just shutting off the internet completely. But even in that case, you could store your Bitcoin offline in a drive, in a thumb drive or something like that. So there really is no way to attack Bitcoin.